All right, Libra. So I like it. I think it's great, but I think that a lot of you right now are breaking the rules and taking matters into your own hands because you've got the higher power on your side. It's like realizing that you are more than the body you inhabit. And I'm no longer going to deal with doing things by the book, because to me, this is like looking at the Hierophant in reverse. And I don't think that it's typical of Libra, but it makes me wonder what situation pushed you to this point. So from Le Vampire, anti-hero, Maverick, risk taker and rule breaker, and then a higher power from Wisdom of the Oracle. Now, anti-hero, it does talk about displaying to others who are thinking too much in boxes and with labels that those who do good are not always going to fit a cultural stereotype. But what stuck out to me was the working with this card. It says your individuality is a gift from the divine. You are the only person on the planet like you. You truly are here for a purpose, and you truly are needed here no matter how modest the purpose is. Do it well with all your heart and there will be no more loneliness. But I think that you're breaking the rules now because of what a higher power says, or the higher power says. It says that this card reminds you that you are more than a person trying to get ahead and make things happen for yourself and others. You have an immortal soul and are gifted with a human life through which a higher power can express itself. At this time, you need to be conscious of your connection to spirit and foster it through prayer and meditation. All right, Libra, here is your overall. The King of Swords. Oh boy. So this could definitely be you right now, right? Thinking clearly, being a clear communicator, being just. Now, for some of you, yeah, you could be dealing with the King of Swords here, but we'll see how this is playing out. I actually feel good about it because it's not that you're, being intolerant or brutal or, acting as the Queen of Swords. If this is what you are, projecting right now, this to me is almost like a better energy. But, like I always say with the King of Swords, he walks a fine line between being just and fair and being a fucking asshole. So we'll see here, right? But like, I'm okay with it, because even if you are choosing to, go against a situation that isn't working out for you anymore, you're presenting it in a way where it's like, look, here are my facts and here is my truth. This is why I'm doing this. It's not like you're doing something without giving an explanation. Now, in the past, the Queen of Pentacles, oh boy. All right. Now, I don't feel like this is about two different people necessarily. So when I look at court cards, like I say, with kings, I look at what you're projecting out. With the queens, this is what is happening internally or what you're internalizing. The Queen of Pentacles is the past, maybe how you saw yourself in the past. The King of Swords is what you are trying to present now. The Queen of Pentacles could be representing you, not needing to be involved with a person anymore. It could be that you may have felt insecure in a situation, right? It may be about you needing to find your strength here to create your own security and stability. Like I've always said with her, she didn't need a king. She don't need that shit. She can do that on her own. Now, this could be getting a little bit more grounded, though, and a little bit more in tune, because she is very much in tune, but she's also responsible for others, right? Kind of reminds me of the Empress in that way, in that the reason why she works so hard and takes care of everything is to make sure that everybody else surrounding her is comfortable. Maybe some of you are done doing that now, Man, oh man. In the present, the Hierophant. And we'll see how this is playing out with what's in your environment. But, again, right, like if we're talking about a person that you're dealing with, it could be that, you need to have a good, strong commitment, need to have something a little bit traditional. Maybe, you're not wanting to do this anymore, right? Which is possible. But we'll see. We'll see. The Hierophant, the other thing, though, too, is, the Hierophant or the Pope or the High Priest is the conduit between God and man, right? This is the person that we go to when we're trying to understand physical reality. But do you need a go-between anymore? Are you done doing that? And I say that because of anti-hero and higher power. I'm not conforming to that. I know what the truth is now. But again, right, doing things by the book. Oh, Libra. Future conditions, the Three of Swords. I have to wonder, though, because I still feel that this goes for some of you. Whether you're male or female, doesn't matter to me. The fact that I'm looking at the King of Swords as the overall would suggest to me that what you're projecting out is the reasons why you are no longer going to be a part of a situation. With the Three of Swords being in future conditions, it could be because of a person, though. And like I said with the King of Swords, right? He has a tendency to show up when he's being a dick. But I don't feel like it's you being that way. If you are dealing with somebody that's being that way, you're no longer willing to conform to this. The Three of Swords being in future conditions, yeah, it can absolutely suggest that you're dealing with a heartbreaking situation here involving a person. You may be the one that's breaking somebody's heart, though, too. But the thing is, though, is I still feel like it's because you're being pushed in this position. I don't feel like there's no reason for you not to do this. And I don't think, because of what I'm looking at here, just within this poll, I don't think that it's about cheating. I don't think that it's about, doing something sneaky or sketchy. I think that you're done with a situation. You're being upfront about it. It may be heartbreaking. It may be difficult to deal with, but I feel like you're trying to get past that now. Especially for those of you who are ending, a long-term relationship here, possibly divorce, right? But I'm not seeing justice, but the Hierophant and the Three of Swords, that is heartbreak over conforming to something that you didn't feel secure with. That's how I'm looking at it here. But again, general message, you will know if this is your situation. But this, though, I think both parties are responsible for this. But I feel like you have a reason. Your best path to follow, the Five of Wands. Don't get caught up in petty bullshit. Don't do that. With the King of Swords, especially being the overall here, this is what I'm talking about you being very clear. Being very clear. It's not that you need to be harsh or direct, but you have your own facts to support the way that you're feeling or what you believe right now. And if somebody else is not seeing that perspective, there's no point in getting caught up in the battle. I don't think that this has to do with internal struggle. I think that this is, especially if you're being the anti-hero, people not understanding your perspective. It doesn't matter because it's about your truth, right? So I would say don't get caught up in that. Present your case, so to speak, but don't get involved. There's no point anymore, especially if it's leading to the Three of Swords. If you feel like you need to break a commitment, if you feel like you need to separate, if some of you feel like you need to, go through a divorce or break up with somebody, it may be difficult in future conditions, but the thing is I don't see this continuing to be something that is going to fulfill you, okay? And I say that because of the Three of Swords. And your advice being not to get caught up in any kind of pettiness. People don't understand, that's on them. If you are being clear and concise and presenting yourself and why you're choosing to do the things that you do, then it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. Damn, man. Oh. In your environment, the devil. With the Hierophant? No. I do. I feel like some of you feel like you are locked into a situation that is not, fulfilling you, not bringing you any happiness. You don't need this. You didn't need this. But for some reason, you're involved in this. I do think that for some of you, it is going to have to do with a relationship more so than work. Now, this could definitely be a work situation. And the relationship could be any relationship. It could be romantic. But I'm getting pulled toward the feeling of needing to break up or separate. And I think that some of you may inadvertently break somebody's heart, but the thing is they pushed you to that point. I seriously feel like that, especially with the devil being there. No, it's not a good situation. I mean, look at it. No matter how you're looking at this, no matter who the person is, earth, air, doesn't matter, male, female, don't care. I still feel like because of the core cards, we're talking about what you're projecting and what you're internalizing because of someone. And it's not good. Wow, Libra. Damn, man. Your hopes and your fears, the Seven of Swords. This, to me, I feel like is not about, you know, you not being clear on your intentions. I don't think that you're intentionally hiding anything. I think that if you have experienced any kind of deception or somebody being sneaky, sketchy, doing bullshit, whatever, I don't think that you're fearing it again. I think that, you know, if we're looking at a fear in terms of the Seven of Swords, it's like, what else am I going to find out about? You know, but I feel more so like a lot of you may be fearing that you're just going to have to, you know, sneak away, right? Because this is like, fuck it, I'm going to take what I can and I got to get the hell out of here because I can't do this anymore. I can't, you know? And what I want to tell you is that things are going to go more smoothly than what you think. Because that was one of the first things that I picked up on before we even laid the spread down. I don't think that that matters anymore. I think that you don't want to have to do things that way. But again, I feel like your hand is being forced. But you're not being deceitful about anything. I feel like you're being upfront. You're being honest. You're you know, presenting your case. But somebody else is not getting it. They just don't get it. But, you know, if that's the case, then are you going to be forced to have to do things like quietly, like I just got to get the hell out now, you know? The Eight of Pentacles. With the Queen of Pentacles, right? Like I talked about before, I think some of you are done carrying the responsibilities of, you know, keeping a situation going that isn't healthy or not making you happy. Because the thing is you're busting your ass here, putting in a lot of effort. And with the Lovers and the Devil, this is towards a situation that, you know, clearly you feel locked into, but you're about to make a major life choice and it may have to do with this major relationship. But with the Seven of Pentacles, you know, this is looking back at all the hard work that you put into it. Was it even worth your time? Is what I feel like. Was it even worth doing? Because nothing is changing. Though I do think that some of you, though, before acting on anything, I think that you're going to go through the process of reviewing the entire situation first. No matter how heartbreaking it's going to be, but you're already in it. Like I feel like some of you are already trapped in a situation where you're not happy. You know, and like I said, you may have to break someone's heart, but you may stop yourself here to kind of reevaluate the situation. But can you lay it to rest based on what you see through your efforts? Are you seeing what you want? Is there a different way to do something? If there isn't, to continue the growth that you want to see, then it's time to shut the door, right? It's done now, you know. But I think that some of you may be going through the judgment process because you want to make sure that you're actually doing what is just, what is fair, Libra. Right? And it would make sense. But the thing is I feel like you're kind of presenting your case in a way that it doesn't even matter if somebody doesn't agree. But like I said, I wouldn't get caught up in the conflict. I wouldn't get caught up in the pettiness, the bullshit. If you are not happy and you feel like you are locked in a difficult situation, right, you are going to have to do what you need to do. It may not be what you want to do, but you may have to go through this whole process of understanding that first before you can actually do the action, you know. Damn, man. All right. I don't know what the hell is going on with these readings today. I'm getting like really, really, really involved in them. But, you know, like I always say, they're general messages. You will know if this is your situation. If it's not, then, you know. And then birth, damn, man. Now, birth does talk about an actual birth with that deck, right? But it's also a new life, bringing, you know, something to life, right? And with healing and change, it's like going through a new birth for you, you know? It's not necessarily being reborn, but everything is going to be brand new once you go through the change. But only after there has been healing. And it's not bad. I just don't like the fact that some of you feel like you're locked into a situation, though, you know, because that is what the Hierophant and the Devil feels like to me, you know. And I also feel like this has been an unhealthy situation for a while. And, you know, I have to wonder if now some of you aren't finally getting the courage to kind of present your case, so to speak. And then miracles, expect wonders. Oh my God, expect the wonders to emerge. I swear I know how to read. I promise. I blame that on Mercury retrograde in my chart. Anyway, believing in magic and seeing miracles, right? But needing to take like the unknown journey by moonlight, right? Taking the journey into the unknown. You may not know what's going to happen later, but stop worrying about, you know, if you're doing the right thing or not. You know what I mean? Because you were already doing that to begin with the Queen of Pentacles. I feel like, you know, if this is your situation, you know, you do what you need to do, but make sure that you're assessing or judging the situation accurately. Do what you feel like you need to do. Don't worry about whether or not it's the right or wrong thing to do here, right? Like, you know, you're not intentionally doing anything bad. You have to get out of this situation. It may not be the way you want to do it, but like I can't get past, you know, the devil, the Three of Swords, the Hierophant. That bothers me. You know, I almost feel like some of you are like needing to defend yourself, and that's not fair. And that's where I feel like I need to tell you that once you are clear and you present your case here with the Five of Wands, don't. They may not understand, but it's not your responsibility to make them understand how you are feeling. You know, especially if you feel like you are in an unhealthy situation. Just make sure that you're judging things accurately. You know, but you need to do what you feel like is right for you.